We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Dear as these words are to our hearts, they must be more to us than just words. They must define our view of the world. The phrase, all men, does not apply only to America, but to all members of our human race. As the benefactors of liberty and the proclaimers of freedom, we have the responsibility to defend the rights of others and their freedom when it is threatened. Genocide is a clear threat to the freedom of mankind. It is a crime against humanity that leaves destroyed nations in its bloody wake. It is an evil that must be stopped. Genocide is a product of the 20th century. Over the past 100 years, over 17 million men, women, and children have lost their lives to genocide. Currently, genocide continues to plague the poorer areas of our world, areas where democracy and free choice have yet to prevail. A war rages on in the Democratic Republic of Congo. This war is the lasting spillover of the genocide crisis that took place in Rwanda in 1994. It is a quiet war, a war that has escaped the front-page fame and notoriety of news broadcasts. But it has silently piled up the highest death toll of any conflict since World War II. For over a decade, the region has been torn apart. Villages have been destroyed. Families forced to watch one another murdered in their own homes. Rape has become a key weapon for soldiers as they use it to destroy the lives and livelihood of women in the region. No one is safe. As Dennis Mukwege, a local doctor working to help those suffering the devastating effects of forced violation, said of his patients, the youngest was 3 years old, and the oldest, 75. Yet while these atrocities are being committed against these, our brothers and sisters in the human race, we continue along, blinded by the veil of our ignorance and safely wrapped in a blanket of our own self-indulgence. Can we no longer hear the words that drove our forefathers to fight for our freedom? How will we be remembered as a generation that stood by and watched as millions of our fellow men, women, and children were lost to brutal bloodshed? Or will we rise to the occasion and defend the rights of mankind? Will it be said of us that this was our finest hour? Not enough is being done to alleviate the tears and stop the bloodshed. Since 2005, 17,000 UN peacekeeping troops have been deployed to the area. Their task, of course, has been to keep the peace, but that is quite the task to complete when there is no peace to be kept. It is especially daunting for an underfunded, under-equipped, and undermanned montage of troops. What needs to be done is intervention on multiple levels. Force beyond what is currently granted to the UN troops must be used to intervene on behalf of the defenseless victims. Some would argue that this is not our fight, that we should stay out. They would argue that the value of an American life is more than these people who we believe have the same right to life, liberty, and happiness, a happiness that will ever continue to escape them so long as their lives are controlled by fear. Humanitarian intervention is needed as well to help bring stability to the area. Without the extended arms of charity, the future holds no hope for these people. Yes, the problem is overwhelming, but individually we can make a difference. The extent of the suffering needs to be brought into the light of public knowledge. Political leaders need to be notified of our support of intervention, and charitable donations must be made to bring hope to these people's lives and help them survive. We all have an obligation to help those living in such dire circumstances, but here at BYU, in these hollowed foothills, and as a people claiming the title of saints, our obligation runs a little bit deeper. As the prophet Joseph taught, a man possessed with the love of God is not content in blessing his family alone, but ranges through the whole world, anxious to bless the whole human race. We must make the choice now to stop genocide. We must make the choice now to stand up for the rights of mankind. As Congresswoman Allison Schwartz noted, the 20th century taught us how far unbridled evil can and will go when the world fails to confront it. It is time we heed the lessons of the 20th century and stand up to these murderers. It is time we end genocide in the 20th century. My fellow members of the human race, it is self-evident that with the great blessing of freedom comes the great responsibility of defending it, even if it's not for ourselves. If we do not, it will be remembered to our eternal shame. Thank you.